The loudest scream wasn't from any living person. It came from the screen. The three friends, Evan, Lucas, and Madison, stood frozen in Evan's living room as they watched the footage they had recorded earlier that night inside the old Hollow Creek house, the most feared abandoned home in their town. The video showed the three of them walking through a dark hallway, when a tall shadow moved behind them even though no one was there. Then, the second clip showed a chair flying across the room without anyone touching it. But the third clip was the worst. A pale figure with glowing blue eyes crawled across the ceiling toward the camera. And just when the figure reached the lens, the footage glitched and the screen turned completely white, followed by that horrible scream. Madison covered her mouth. Lucas stepped back. Evan whispered, "Guys, I think we caught the top 3 paranormal events ever recorded in this house." But before anyone could say another word, the TV flickered again. The white screen wasn't white anymore. A blurry face pressed up against it from the inside, staring straight at them. And then, the mouth on the screen began to open. Before they could see what came next, the power in the entire house shut off. Everything went black. Evan had always loved cameras. He recorded everything: birthdays, school trips, silly moments. But that week, he wanted something different. He told Lucas and Madison, "Let's film a real haunted place. Something no one has ever captured before." At first, Madison refused. Everyone in town knew the stories about the Hollow Creek house. Kids dared each other to go near it, but no one stayed long. People said they heard footsteps when the house was empty. Some even said they saw lights flash inside even though there was no electricity. But Evan begged, and eventually she agreed. "Fine," she said. "But we go in, take quick shots, then run out." When they arrived that evening, the sky was already turning dark blue. The house looked tired, as if it wanted to fall apart. Its windows were dusty and cracked, and the front door hung crooked like it had been kicked too many times. Lucas whispered, "Why does it look like it's waiting for us?" Inside, every sound echoed. Their footsteps. The wind. Even their breathing felt loud. Still, they pushed deeper into the house, taking turns holding the camera. At first, nothing unusual happened, just old furniture, creaky floors, and dust everywhere. But when they reached the hallway, the temperature dropped so fast Madison saw her breath. Evan kept filming. Lucas shivered. "Let's just leave," he said. Evan shook his head. "Not yet." Then the first paranormal event happened, the shadow moving behind them on the camera. They didn't even see it in real life, only on the playback screen. That should have been their warning to run, but curiosity won. The second event was louder. A chair slid across the room by itself and hit the wall. Lucas screamed. Madison grabbed Evan's arm. Evan kept filming, hands shaking. Then came the third event, the pale figure moving on the ceiling. Terrified, they ran out, not even stopping to close the door behind them. But now, back in Evan's house, with the power gone and the screen showing that strange face, they realized something terrible. The haunting didn't stay in the house. It followed the camera. And as the TV crackled in the darkness, they heard a soft tapping, coming from right behind them. The tapping behind them grew louder, slow at first, then faster, like long fingers drumming on a table. Evan, Lucas, and Madison froze in the darkness. No one dared turn around. The power was still out, and the only light in the room came from the dim glow of Evan's camera screen lying on the table. Lucas whispered, "Evan, tell me that's you tapping." Evan swallowed hard. "I'm not moving." For a moment, the room was silent again. Then the tapping stopped, and something brushed across Madison's shoulder. She screamed, spun around, and swung her flashlight wildly. The light flickered back on just long enough to show the empty space behind her. Nothing. No one. But the air where she stood felt colder than outside in winter. "Guys, we need to go," she said, her voice shaking. They hurried outside to the porch. The night air felt fresher, safer. The street lights glowed normally. Evan's house looked like any other house on the block. But something was wrong. Because when they looked through the window, the TV inside was still on, even though there was no power. And on the TV screen, the blurry face was still staring at them. Madison's voice cracked. "That thing, it knows we're watching." Evan looked down at the camera in his hands. The device was hot, as if it had been left in the sun. The screen kept flashing, switching between black and static. Then a message popped up on its own. "Play me." "Nope," Lucas said immediately. "Absolutely not." But the message appeared again, this time with a loud beep that echoed across the quiet neighborhood. "Play me." Evan backed up. "It's like the thing inside the house wants us to finish the video." Madison hugged herself. "Or it wants us to go back." Lucas shook his head. "We're not going back to that place. Ever." But Evan's face slowly changed. He wasn't smiling, but he wasn't scared either. He looked almost hypnotized. "Guys, what if this is something huge? Like bigger than any paranormal video ever online? What if people need to see this?" Madison grabbed the camera from him. "This isn't about going viral anymore. Whatever we recorded doesn't want to stay in the camera." Just then, a strong cold wind blew around them, too strong for a quiet night. It whipped Madison's hair sideways and forced Lucas to cover his face. Evan looked around in confusion. Then the camera turned on by itself again and started playing the hallway footage from the haunted house. But this time, the video was different. The shadow behind them wasn't just a shadow anymore. It had a shape. Arms. Legs. A head tilted to the side. The figure slowly lifted its face toward the camera as if it knew they were watching. Madison screamed and dropped the camera onto the wooden porch. The screen cracked. Silence. For a second, they all thought maybe breaking the camera was the answer. Maybe destroying it would end the nightmare. But then, every streetlight on the road blinked off at the same exact time. Darkness swallowed everything. Lucas whispered, What did we just wake up?" Before anyone could respond, something stepped onto the porch with them. They didn't see it clearly, only the shape of long fingers wrapping around the porch railing. Then came the sound. A deep, slow growl, like something crawling out of the ceiling, just like in the video. Madison grabbed Evan's hand. "Run!" But when they turned, the front yard was no longer empty. Standing in the middle of the yard was the pale figure from the footage. Its glowing blue eyes locked straight onto them. And it started walking toward them. The pale figure stepped closer, its glowing blue eyes fixed on the three friends as if it had been waiting for this moment. Evan, Lucas, and Madison stood frozen on the porch, trapped between the thing in the yard and the darkness behind them. The night felt too quiet, like the whole world was holding its breath. "Don't move," Madison whispered, though her legs were already shaking. The figure tilted its head slowly, almost curious. Its movements were stiff, unnatural, as if its bones bent in the wrong direction. Each step made the grass crunch even though it wasn't cold enough for frost. Lucas grabbed Evan's arm and pulled him back. "We have to get inside," he said. But just as they stepped toward the door, the TV inside flickered again. The blurry face appeared and whispered something they couldn't understand. The voice didn't come from the speakers, it came from everywhere. From the walls. From the air. From inside their ears. Madison covered hers. "Make it stop!" The figure reached the bottom of the porch steps. Evan panicked and pushed the front door open. They ran inside and slammed it shut. The instant they did, the house shook, like something heavy had slammed into the outside wall. Lucas locked the door. "That won't hold it." Evan rushed to the living room where the TV kept flickering. The pale face on the screen was clearer now. A woman's face, but stretched, distorted, like it had been pulled too wide. Her eyes glowed the same blue as the figure outside. Madison grabbed Evan's shoulder. "Why is she on the screen? What does she want?" Before Evan could answer, the camera, still cracked, slid across the table on its own. It turned toward them, lens pointing straight at their faces. Then it played a new clip, one they hadn't recorded. It showed the three of them running into Evan's house just moments earlier. The same movements. The same panic. The same slammed door. "It's recording us right now," Lucas whispered. But the footage wasn't exactly the same. In the video, something followed them into the house, something they hadn't seen. A dark shape moved across the floor behind them, crawling low like a shadow with hands. Madison stepped back quickly. "Evan, look behind you." He turned around. Nothing there. But the camera hadn't lied to them yet. Suddenly, the front doors shook violently, as if something was trying to break it down. The wood bent inward, cracking. Lucas grabbed a chair and pushed it under the doorknob, hoping it would hold. "Why is this happening to us?" he cried. Evan stared at the camera screen. The pale woman's face slowly faded in again. This time, her whisper was clear enough to understand. "Return what you took." "We didn't take anything," Madison shouted at the screen. The whisper repeated, louder, angrier. "Return what you took." Lucas's eyes widened. "The camera. It wants the camera." Evan shook his head. "But that makes no sense. It's just a camera." Another loud slam hit the front door. The chair moved an inch. The hinges groaned. Madison grabbed the camera and held it tightly. "We have to take it back to the house. We have to return it." Lucas pointed toward the door. "How? That thing is right outside." But just then, the shaking stopped. The house went silent again. Too silent. Evan walked slowly toward the window and peeked out. The pale figure was no longer in the yard. The streetlights were still off. The whole neighborhood was pitch black. "Guys," he whispered. "It's gone." Madison didn't look relieved. "Gone where?" Suddenly, a loud thud echoed from upstairs. They all froze. Another thud. Closer. Evan's voice shook. "It's inside the house." The three of them backed away from the staircase as the noise grew louder. Something heavy was dragging across the floor above them, slow, uneven, like it didn't understand how to walk. Then they saw it. A pale hand appeared on the top step. Long fingers curled around the railing. The creature's head followed next, bending unnaturally as it peered down at them from the stairs. Its eyes glowed brighter than before, lighting the entire staircase in a blue glow. It opened its mouth slowly, and the same scream from the video shook the house. The windows rattled. The lights flickered. Madison covered her ears and cried. Lucas grabbed Evan. "We have to run! Out the back door!" But before they could move, the TV in the living room turned on again. The pale woman's voice whispered one last time. "Return what you took, or become what I am." The creature on the stairs dropped to all fours and began racing toward them with impossible speed. And that's where everything went black.